Hello, my name is Sally Ankers and I'm the Maths Manager and the Deputy Head at Petersgate Infant School, and thank you for joining me for this presentation into how mathematics is taught in early years. This presentation will show you what and how your child will learn about mathematics in early years. We believe that children learn maths best initially through practical learning using resources such as counters, cubes, shells, gems and conkers. New learning always starts practically before moving to pictorial. Children draw and record in their own way and then finally writing number sentences. It is worth mentioning now some of the mathematical language may have changed since you were at school. One example is number sentences, is what your children will come home saying. You may know them as sums using numbers and signs. There will be a booklet available on the website which will include some of the vocabulary your child will be using, as well as ways that you can help at home. There are two areas of learning in the foundation stage for mathematics: number and space, shape and measure. We are now going to look closer at the area of learning for number. Children are assessed against the early learning goals at the end of Year R, which is the final year of early years and the foundation stage curriculum. Many children come into school knowing how to count, but other skills are needed too, so that children can make sense of counting and number. These skills include using one-to-one correspondence, touching objects as they count them. Children often move their fingers quicker than they can say the number, so this skill can be tricky. Spacing out the objects in a line can help. As well as counting objects that they can see, children need to count things they can't always see. Stand behind them and clap, and then ask them to tell you how many claps they have heard, or drop objects into a water. How many times do they hear something splash? Children also need to understand amounts. What is 5? Count out 5 counters. Is the 5 counters the same amount as 5 cubes or 5 squares? Recognising numbers randomly can be difficult too, so games where counting on from a different number, such as snakes and ladders, looking out for numbers in the environment, door numbers and registration plates all help to develop that skill. Recognising numbers. As with most learning, it is direct experience that helps children to learn and to remember. Most children will recognise numbers personal to them, their age or their door number. Whilst learning 1 to 10 is usually straightforward, it can become more complicated. It can take time for children to recognise teen numbers. Calling them queen numbers can be a prompt. You look for the een. And this is without the complications of 11, 12, 13 and 15, which are potentially even more confusing. Children will often call 11 1 and 1, or 12 1 and 2. 13 and 15 can be 3-teen and 5-teen, which, when you consider the pattern of teen numbers, this makes perfect sense when you are 4 and 5. And 20, which is often called twenteen. We do lots of number recognition practice in school, and numbers are plentiful in the classroom and outside to support this recognition development. Addition. Children will learn digits to 20 and calculate to 10 and 20. They will learn how to match digits to amounts. They'll be counting forwards, they'll be counting backwards. We use the concrete pictorial abstract. Concrete is practically with cubes and counters and objects, often told as a story. Pictorial, drawing with pictures. And only when children are ready will they use the abstract, which is writing the number sentence. Children need to have a secure conceptual understanding of adding as combining 2 amounts before writing a number sentence, and we will model and explain this alongside the children. The following film shows you how we do addition at school. Addition. Children will begin by adding 1 more, practically and in a number story like this. There are 3 mini beasts in a field running around. 1 more mini beast came to join them. How many mini beasts are there now? And they will count on to find the answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once children are fairly confident at the practical stage, they will begin to record pictorially in their own way. So it might begin to look something like this. 1, 2, 3, and one more mini beast comes to join them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 add 1 makes 4, or they may choose to draw it in sticks. Children record in whichever way is preferable to them. Finally, once the children have worked through these two stages and are secure in recording pictorially, they will write the number sentence. So 3 add 1 makes 4. Some stages, such as recording, can take a lot longer, as a secure understanding that adding is two amounts combined, put together, is needed before writing a number sentence takes place. The concrete, pictorial and abstract, CPA for short, is how maths is taught to children, with children learning and moving on when they are ready in their own time. Subtraction. Counting backwards is often trickier than counting forwards, and we do lots of singing of songs where children are counting down. These are often accompanied with actions or objects, or the children acting out the songs. We also count down too, and these are things that you can practice at home. Just like addition, subtraction is initially done practically in a story, starting with taking away 1, allowing the children to see the total amount being reduced, then moving on to pictorial before a number sentence. And again, children will work at their own pace. There will now be a short film following this showing you how we do subtraction. Subtraction. Just like addition, subtraction is initially done practically in a story, starting with taking away 1, allowing the children to see the total amount before being reduced. There are 5 conkers were laid on the grass. A fox came along and took 1 away. How many conkers are left on the grass? The children then count the remaining objects. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 take away 1 is 4. Again, they will practice doing these number sentences practically before moving on to recording them pictorially in their own way. So there are 5 conkers laid on the grass. A fox came along and takes 1 away. How many conkers are left? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 take away 1 is 4. And again, the children will work through recording in their own way before attempting to write the number sentence. 5 take away 1 equals 4. Please do not be concerned if your child is not writing a number sentence. As I said earlier, they will work through this at their own pace, and not all children are ready to write number sentences by the end of early years, but they will do so when they are ready. All about the language. As I said in the beginning of this presentation, your children will hear a wide variety of mathematical language which will get built on as they progress through the school from early years to year 2. Sharing. Understanding that if we share something, we have the same amount. Sharing is done practically and pictorially. The writing of a division number sentence is introduced in Key Stage 1, as is multiplication. Fractions are introduced through halving and sharing by 2. The concept that if something is halved or shared by 2, both pieces or quantities are the same. Doubling. Children generally love doubling, especially when it's a game and they throw a double 6. This introduces the idea that doubling is the same number added together. Exceeding the early learning goal. When a child consistently shows understanding and can, more importantly, explain their understanding and are observed to work at a level more than the early learning goal, they are said to be exceeding. We are now going to have a look at the second part of the early learning goal in mathematics, shape, space and measure, which includes 2D and 3D shapes and their properties, money, length, weight and pattern. Size. Children compare objects by size and height. They can compare their height to each other to solve practical problems, such as who is the tallest or shortest in the class. They can order objects by size or height whilst hearing and using the different vocabulary associated with size. Using balance scales, children investigate the weight of various objects to find out which is the heaviest or lightest. As a challenge, can they make the scales balance? The supportive adult is there facilitating learning with questions such as those you can see on the slide. Capacity. Children explore capacity using water or sand with different size containers, funnels, wheels, and during all of this play, the adult is there supporting the learning with open-ended questioning, observing learning through their play, and assessing understanding to plan for a child's next steps. Position and distance. Children listen to and use positional language to place objects and themselves. This also helps to develop their awareness of words which can mean the same thing, such as near or close. Time. In early years, we look at a sequence of time using time-connected words such as first, next, and after that, and we link this to the children's day, which is displayed on the visual timetable. First, we are going to do phonics. Next, we are going to have some playtime. After that, it will be lunchtime. Money. Over time, the way in which we shop has changed from the corner shop and the local high street to larger shops and retail sites and online shopping. Not only have habits changed, but how we pay for purchases has too. Ask some children how things are bought and they will say on the internet and delivered to the house. When I have asked children, how do you pay for shopping? I have been told you put a card into a machine and press some buttons, or you wave a card over the top. Or my favourite is, you don't have to pay for it, it just comes to your house. Some children do know what money is and its function. However, for many children, money is something they simply have not yet experienced. We are not yet a cashless society, but certainly cash is used less by a lot more of us. So at school, we use real money for the children to play shops with, sort out money by colour or by size and generally play with it. And of course, while they are playing, adults are reinforcing the value of the coins so children begin to recognise them. Pattern. Pattern is the basis of number, and children enjoy finding and making patterns, from a simple repeating patterns of colour, say red and green, to a complex pattern using shapes that tessellate, fit together without leaving any gaps. We encourage children to look for patterns in mathematics, which helps them to develop sequencing skills, which can then be transferred to other domains as maths, such as pattern in numbers, which will help them as they continue their education, counting in 2s, 10s and 5s, and later their times tables. We are surrounded by shapes, both 2 and 3-dimensional. We teach children shape names and the property of shapes, such as a square, which has 4 sides that are the same length and 4 corners. Children handle the shapes, make pictures with them, and look for shapes in the environment, which is something you can do at home too. As with number, children would need to show a consistent understanding and display a high level of mathematical thinking and use mathematical vocabulary to be said to be working exceeding in this area. At Petersgate, we know, like you, and understand that all children are different and they all learn at different rates, and therefore we look for those children who may need a little bit longer to practice something or some extra support. We also look for children who need an opportunity to show us what they can do. We do that through questioning or using a different context to see if they can transfer their learning. Children enter school with different experiences and we teach them from where they are, challenge them to make them resilient learners who understand that making mistakes is part of learning. We use the growth mindset language, so I can't do it becomes I can't do it yet. Here are some useful websites for you to help your child, and some books based around number. Colour by number, dot-to-dot books are all things which can help you to support your child at home in a fun way. Ways that you can help at home. There is a leaflet on our website with tips and ideas for you to support your child's learning at home and outside. To support vocabulary from early years right through to Year 2, there are vocabulary pages on the website too. Thank you for watching and listening to the presentation, and please do not hesitate to contact the school if you have any questions.